Everybody, it's Dr. Steve, and I'm here in my backyard in Colorado Springs. It's really cold out. We don't have a lot of snow, a little bit of ice on my patio still because October, November, and December were really snowy months here in Colorado. But right now it's just kind of dry and very cold. And we're going to talk about this coming week. It's going to be a great week as we discuss and look at the Christianization of the empire and some of the things that happened there here as we go into week 3 of our survey of church history. So I'm going to go inside where it's a lot warmer and we'll talk about it. Hey everybody, I'm back inside because it was too cold and too windy out there to do the video, even though I was trying to do that. So this week we're looking at the age of the Christian empire. And this is where the roads kind of divide. You have the early church that was so organic, I guess we could say, and they're just trying to follow the Lord and understand this new paradigm they have for God and Jesus coming and dying and rising again and ascending into heaven. And now we have this added complication where the emperor of the Roman Empire, Constantine, apparently comes to faith and makes Christianity, the religion of the empire. And one could argue, and it's a fair argument, that this was the beginning of the end of some of the kind of core of Christendom for a long time. But at the same time, one of the things it did do was it provided an opportunity for the church to meet more publicly and thus begin to discuss and figure out some really important things. And so the basic 4 movements of this week is the conversion of the empire, the doctrine of the Trinity, which is a huge one because the church fathers really had not had an opportunity to really meet and discuss and figure out just what this meant and how to describe it. And so with that, we have the development of the creeds, in particular the Nicene Creed, and then finally the beginnings of what we often call monasticism. And I'd like to make just a couple of comments about 2 of the things. The discussion forum deals with the Nicene Creed. And this is of particular interest to me. I grew up in a high church conservative Lutheran background, then went through the whole evangelical and charismatic Jesus movement and all of that, and the vineyard churches. And now I find myself in a church, in a non-denominational congregation. However, our senior pastor is actually an ordained Anglican priest. And on a regular basis, we recite the Nicene Creed. And one of the things he's mentioned, and I was not unaware of this, but it doesn't say we believe that, but rather it says we believe in. We believe in one God, the Father Almighty. The idea being that it's only in relationship with God that we really can confess the words of this creed. It's not just mental assent, but it's actually relationship with God. But go ahead and look through that and push back if you want in the discussion threads. That's perfectly okay. The second thing I want to just bring to your attention is something I mentioned in my introductory video, I think it was last week, about the monastic period or the monks. And I remember an evangelism class that I actually taught with the King's University a number of years ago. And we had a number of textbooks. I went through several textbooks trying to determine which one would be the best for the class. And in the particular textbook, it was a history of evangelism, I think is what it was called. They said, if you want to look for the evangelist or the evangelicals throughout the church age, look at the monastics, look at the monks, look at the religious orders, look at St. Benedict, St. Patrick, look at St. Francis, look at these guys, because they're the ones who literally separated from what they saw was an increasingly bureaucratic church, the Roman church, and they went off on their own to just follow God with reckless abandon and desperation. So we're going to look at those 4 themes, the conversion of the empire and the marriage, if you will, of the church and the state. Secondly, the development of the doctrine of the Trinity. And then thirdly, with that, the development of the creeds. And then finally, the development of monasticism. And it was an important period of time in the church. And so let's enjoy ourselves and respectfully be robust and push back with each other in the discussions, and I'll see you guys in the discussion threads.